Hey, what's buzzing with my cousins? Thank you for joining me in this first quick little tune-up here on Chop Shop. As you may have gathered from the name, these quick tune-ups will be used to reinforce points made on previous episodes of Chop Shop. With new examples to help elaborate on the points, a deeper and more clear understanding on the subject should follow. This tune-up will serve as maintenance for my breakdown of the movie The Invitation, found in the previous post on my channel, so if you haven't had a chance, I'd recommend giving it a look before taking this tune-up for a spin. In today's tune-up, we'll be servicing the new Universal horror flick, Last Voyage of the Demeter, an adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, centered around the events as described in the captain's log. This excerpt details a doomed ship called the Demeter and its crew as they sail from Romania after being commissioned by an unknown client to deliver 50 large crates to London. The 2-week trip sounds like business as usual, so after hiring a few extra hands for the voyage, the ship is ready to load up and set sail. It's not until the last few crates are loaded that one of the seasoned members of the crew first notices our first red flag in the tune-up. While in progress of lifting one of the crates aboard the ship, the sailor notices the symbol marked on one of them. Having a clear understanding of the symbol, the man is so shocked to see it that he's actually offended that there was no mention of it before. No amount of gold being worth his soul, the man makes a decision that would prove to have saved his life, quitting on the spot and putting swift distance between himself and this symbol. Now, if you stopped by the Chop Shop from my previous video and heard my breakdown of the movie The Invitation, then you might not be surprised to hear about another vampire flick making use of dragon symbolism. If you have, then my explanation of the symbol in this context helps us start to see a pattern when we see this film use it in the same perspective, which I've come to interpret as Typhonic symbolism. The connection between the dragon and this demonic entity is confirmed when the older man states flat out that the seal is indeed representation of the devil's serpent before fleeing. This connection is further reinforced once the crew sets sail, if we understand how to perceive the way this film expands on the symbolism. In my last video, I explained how the dragon represents Typhon, a powerful demon that attempted an attack on the heavens, which resulted in its defeat and banishment. Typhon also happens to be at the root of the term typhoon, as Typhon is synonymous with devastating storms, especially those that occur at sea. Just as the vampiric demon Walt proudly proclaimed to be the son of the dragon in the movie The Invitation, this movie elaborates on that notion through its depiction of Dracula. Once the Demeter is loaded up and departs from the mainland, the crew does so without incident. During their first night at sea, they sail under a crystal clear sky littered with stars. It's not until they've traveled too far to turn around that the demonic presence begins to make itself known. After being freed from its crate, the once peaceful waters carrying the Demeter turns extremely violent whenever the vampiric demon is roaming the ship on the prowl. His ability to manipulate the weather, creating raging storms and fog thick enough to make visibility impossible, ties back to Typhon. With the understanding of this supreme vampire being the offspring of Typhon, it makes sense for his son to have influence over storms at sea. This connection is much less of a stretch when we learn that one of Typhon's main titles is Father of All Monsters. Dracula himself is known by the masses as the most iconic monster of all monster movies, king of the entire horror subgenre. Just as his father waged war on the heavens, Dracula launches his own attack as well, opting to stay clear of a battle with the righteous army though, and instead targeting what God loves most, us. More than literally feeding on human blood as sustenance, the vampiric demon Dracula elects to find who amongst the crew is purest of heart and makes examples of him. It's the crew members displaying the highest moral standards that are left alive for his polluting of their blood to take root. The effects of the demon's attack is virtually indistinguishable from that of demonic possession. the victims becoming walking puppets and committing unspeakable acts as they bend to the will of this demon. This is done for the sole purpose of corrupting the best living examples of God's will that it can find, as this is actually explained through the movie's dialogue. A character's description of Dracula as the literal devil further supports the connection to Typhon. Typhon's association with Set, the Egyptian deity or devil of destruction, essentially makes them one and the same. Their names are actually often attached to one another, their union recognized as Set Typhon. Well, that's it for this tune-up. I hope the new information I shared helped to reinforce the points made about Typhonic symbolism in my last video. If you're out of the loop and happen upon this tune-up beforehand, stop by the chop shop after this video and get caught up to speed. If what you heard made sense, hit the like button to help other people tune up as well. If you think your engine may need servicing before the next tune-up, don't forget to hit the subscribe button too. That way you can stop by the chop shop for a refresher before we dive into the next topic. If you think others that you know could use a tune-up, don't forget to simply share this video with them. Your support, whether in spirit or verbally, is deeply appreciated regardless. I hope to see you all in the next Chop Shop tune-up here on Chop GTV. Easy.